Hi, everybody. We are live. So exciting to see the chat blowing up already. I don't need to mention that we have a chat. I'm Jenny Mobius. I'm the SVP at Skedda here hosting the webinar. And we also have Patrick Cassidy, our wonderful customer onboarding manager, joining us today. I was going to give it a couple minutes before we jump in, but you all have jumped in already, so please keep sharing where you're dialing in from. It's so exciting to see all the interaction already.
This might be the most international chat we've had so far. This is incredible.
Yes, and for anybody wondering, this is always recorded. You will always get the recording if you can't join live. We also have a Q&A section, so if you have questions, please pop it into the right-hand column there where it says Q&A, because if we can't get to it at the end, we'll definitely reach out after the fact and send you an email. Wonderful. What do we have, Patrick? UK, Washington, New Mexico, more UK, Ontario, Toronto, North
Japan.
Carolina, Germany, Japan. Oh, whoa.
Servus to the person in Germany. Grüß Gott.
Awesome. We now have employees, I believe, in 23 countries all over the world. We are truly global. It's such a fun place to work. All right, 11:02. Let's jump in. Okay, so welcome customers, prospective customers, and our partners to our third edition of Patrick's Product Picks, where we take deep dives into specific functionality of the Skedda Workplace Management Platform. Just a quick recap, in our first session, Book Any Space in the Modern Workplace, we discovered how Skedda's space attributes made it easy for anyone to quickly locate and book the right space with the necessary resources. Think desks, equipment, monitors, spaces for pets, even robots, to do their best work. So head over to skedda.com/events if you want to listen to that one. In our second session, we built upon that foundation, best practices for booking and managing spaces, where we guided you through Skedda's powerful rules and roles engine, which allows for customized booking conditions for various users and spaces. So think booking windows, buffer times, quotas, and again, head over to skedda.com/events. Wanted to make sure you knew what we already had out there, because this one also builds upon the last two. So today we're going to dive into 5 possibly lesser known features you didn't know could have a huge impact on your setup. We were inspired to roll this one out by a conversation I recently had with a customer who had, very understandably, been too busy to keep up with many of our feature rollouts this year. Many of these features came directly from your product feedback, so we want to ensure that you didn't miss them either. Another quick reminder that there's a Q&A. If you have questions, if you've joined a little later, please pop them into the Q&A. If we don't get to them at the end, we will certainly reach out. And we will have a couple polls, so please answer the polls as we jump into the session. All right. Before Patrick jumps into the product, I'd like to take 3 minutes or so to remind us where we've been and how the market has evolved to where we are today. Today, hybrid work is just part of the story. It was a term we used when we were scrambling post-pandemic to describe where we were working. Some days at home, some days in the office. We've come so far since then, and the term hybrid no longer defines our current reality. Now we have the data, the policies, the technology, the training, and the leaders to create great modern work experiences. So we're seeing a shift from people coming into the office 2 to 3 days a week to having multiple populations of employees, some coming in a few days a week still, and some coming in 5 days a week. Analysts have also had much more time to study flexible work, and we're seeing so much more data coming in to inform our decisions. Market data, utilization data, occupancy data, and technology are more robust. So we're in a much better position today to meet the needs of our modern workforce. And here's some of that data. Flexibility continues to be the norm. Nearly 70% of US companies offer some degree of work location flexibility, and that's up from 50% in 2023. According to CBRE, optimizing space for flexible work has resulted in cost savings and a 15% reduction in average square footage per individual. And yet, space utilization is still lagging. To increase office utilization, drive cost savings, and improve the workplace experience, which are the top workplace initiatives, leaders are tracking multiple sources of occupancy data, and nearly 80% are tracking utilization data, according to JLL. So, to quickly wrap up, because I know you want to hear from Patrick, as modern work continues to evolve, make sure that your software evolves with you. I'm going to pass it off to Patrick to share 5 lesser known ways Skedda makes it easy for you to get the data sources you need to achieve these workplace initiatives. And if we're lucky, Patrick will share a few sneak peeks into the product roadmap too. Thanks everybody for joining. Take it away, Patrick.
Thanks very much, Jenny. A pleasure as ever to be presenting again. These just continue to grow and are fun. So I want to talk about a couple of things today, but I'll begin sort of chronologically with when you're setting up your Skedda account, when you want to get users onto the account, the different sorts of ways you can do that. Some of you mightn't be aware, but it's possible to bulk upload users ahead of time. I'll talk about that in a second, but let me just give you an overview of what I mean. In your user setting here, when you've populated it, you'll have users with their email and potential tags that they have. You can just send an invite link out to people at the most basic level, and they can log in and register with an email and a password. Alternatively, you can set up something called single sign-on, which just means whether you use Microsoft or Google, they'll use their work email and they'll be authenticated that way. If you want to add another layer of complexity onto that, you can, which is when people are registering for Skedda, they would receive a specific tag. So for example, if in Google or Microsoft, somebody had a tag called IT because the department in Google was that way, they would automatically receive it when they log into Skedda. However, if you don't have single sign-on set up, or if you don't have those kinds of departments or tags, it is possible for us to upload those users one time. We would send you a form like this. You would put the email address of the particular user and then the tag that they should have. And then we could bulk upload that for you. And everybody would appear in the users list and they would receive the tag that they should get. Now, Jenny sort of alluded to it there, but something we have been asked about a lot in the past is very popular. Currently, as I showed you with single sign-on, only upon initial registration can people get their tags. Over time, these do not change. They don't represent what will be in your Microsoft or Google environments. However, that is going to change this year. We're going to start using something that's called Skim. And I'm not going to give any sort of fixed date in case I've incurred a rat of my product team. But no, it is coming, and it's something we're actively working on. But this was just to show you that there are many different ways for your users to come on here and receive the tags that they should get. And if we bulk upload it, just as an aside, your users won't get an email notification. So that's something you can do ahead of time, and then we can send out communications to them on the day that you want it to go live. Okay, now you've got your users in there, and one of our most commonly or frequently asked questions or way of setting up an account, and I'm going to jump into Microsoft Teams to show you this. So if you use Microsoft Teams, this is how you can be using Skedda. It just appears here in the sidebar for you, and people can come in and book using this. Now, if somebody clicks on a desk, it can appear, let me go to someday in the future. It can appear by default as 9 to 5. So like a full day booking, if that's what a full day is for you. Previously, this was only achieved by creating a rule, which I can show you in a second. But we have a new way of achieving this where it would just appear here as all day. And you could untick this, and then I could bring this back to whatever time of day I actually wanted to make a booking for. So let's say it was actually, I only wanted it for a few hours. So this is something we get asked a lot. Can we have it default to a full day, but if somebody wants to book for less, they can? Alternatively, somebody can click on a desk and it doesn't default to a full day, and you could have that option to default. Typically, it seems to work best when you have it default as full day, because that way, when someone comes in to make a booking, it can be as simple as 1, 2, 3 clicks and you're booked and you have a desk. Whereas if you need it for a shorter period of time, you can just change that. And then this wouldn't apply to, for example, any of the meeting rooms, because you're probably always going to want them to be shorter increments. Where this appears is in your settings. When you go to your hours of availability, you set what the hours of availability should be for specific spaces. So it could be different for different areas. And then at the bottom, you have these all day defaults where you can decide if it's checked by default or unchecked by default. And just to remind you again what that means, if it's checked by default, it will automatically be the full day and you can untick it. Whereas if it's unchecked by default, you click it and then you would actually have the ability to decide that you want to change it to a full day booking. And then for anyone who is familiar with the system, what this would change is when someone comes in to make a booking, for example, and they try to change it here, they'd get an error message because they're not allowed to make that booking. That is also a way you can set it up, and is completely the correct way to do it. If you only want full day bookings, that is controlled under conditions though, and you would set up a condition like this. So that's the amendment we've made recently, because we got a lot of feedback about it and people really like it. Okay, so that's how you can make a full day booking. And then something that we have that we've spoken about before, and I want to briefly touch on again, is our assigned spaces. So if I zoom in on this map here, I can see this kind of little lock, and I can see that Dio and I can see that Yuri have their own desks. There are a few other desks that are to be assigned as well, but haven't been given to somebody yet. Previously, the only way you could do this was to go into the spaces and to go to that space, and then you could change this to whoever it is you want to get that desk. Now you can go to the map directly, and under users, you can click assign, and then you would just need to select the people that should receive those desks. And then everything else will kind of be grayed out. You'll only really be able to see what are ready to be assigned. And then it's just a click the desk exercise. And I can see here, both have been assigned to that user. And a little kind of like future sneak peek here, under the list view, we have the ability to see when somebody is seen on site, when someone actually comes in. That is also going to be available for assigned spaces at some point this year. That's something we also get asked about. Okay, I want to talk a bit about check-in and QR codes now. So if I come over to Teams, I have the ability to check in either via an email that I receive, or alternatively, if I click on the chat function here, you'll get an email notification and also a notification directly in here in the chat. And all the user has to do is click check in via Skedda, and then they'll be checked in automatically for that booking. It's also possible to do this up here in the top left-hand corner under the chat function. Typically, I know people who use Teams sort of live here. So under Skedda, you'll see that you have the possibility to just check in via Skedda. And you also have the ability to query within your channels. So if you go into a specific channel and you come in here, you can write for at Skedda, and it will give you the different prompts that are available for using this. So I can search in, and if I write this as a comment, it will then show me everybody who I have in this particular channel or in this group who has a booking this week. So this is very useful for very quickly and very easily. If I'm in my sales team or my HR team channel here, I can quickly query this, and then I can see everybody who's in this week. And then by just clicking make a booking, I can go in and then make a booking directly in Skedda, or I can just jump down here into the scheduler and make a booking. On check-in, generally, there's lots of different ways to set it up depending on what it is you want to do. And we also have the ability to print out QR codes. So if you go into your settings and you come in to the bottom, you can click to generate QR codes, and you can select multiple spaces at any given time. So if you wanted to print out QR codes for all of these, you would just select the size. And by printing this out, what this would mean is you would print these out and put them directly on the desks. And when users turn up on the day, this would be an additional way to check in. So you could have it set so that they receive the email, they could check in that way, or through Teams, or alternatively, you could remove those notifications and have it that people could only check in by scanning the QR code when they arrive. And that flow is incredibly straightforward. Somebody walks in, they pull out their phone and they scan it. And if they have a booking, they'll be logged into Skedda on their phone. It just automatically checks them in. If they don't have a booking for that desk, it just opens up the scheduler and then they can make a booking for Skedda directly. Okay, the final thing I wanted to discuss was some updates we've made to reporting on who's using your spaces. So in the insights page, we know that we have all of these useful utilization data. Previously, it was just locked to your opening hours. That was it. So, for example, if I go to the hours availability and I set these, because this is common that you may have your hours availability from, let's say, 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. But when you go to your utilization data and you actually study it, you see the vast majority of booking is happening within, let's say, core working hours. Now, you still want to allow people to book within those, but to get a kind of truer sense of how much your desks are being used during prime time, you can actually come in here and you can change this and you can set this to be whatever time frame you want to be. So if you can see that 9 to 5 appears to be the busiest time, you can apply this, and then this is going to affect your utilization number. You're actually going to see a kind of more accurate number of how many people are booking at the times that you think it's being used most, even if you want to have a sort of a wider period of time that people can book. Okay, so today was about sort of going from the stages of getting people on there, giving them their tags, how you can make full day bookings. You can now put assigned spaces on using the map function much quicker and much easier. How you can use QR codes, and how you use QR codes is going to be very individual to your particular use case. If you want to connect that to occupancy tracking as well, if you want to have a wider check-in period, and then finally, we're very excited about this. It allows you to see your data in whatever time frame you want. Okay, thank you very much. If I haven't checked the Q&A section, but do
Hey.
we have?
Yeah. Sorry, I needed to be put back up.
Oh, no, please.
Thank you so much, Patrick. That was awesome. I hope you all found some new tips for your instances. A lot of these have been very, very popular. Maybe the only one that wasn't mentioned, Patrick, that is the localization feature we have now.
Yes.
So
Yep.
you can, oh, good, cool, you can do that. So you
You can
can
do,
toggle now English, French, Spanish, and German, which is brand new.
yeah, so you can move between, and then it will update the background. And here I've gone for a bit of Francais, so everything then will be in French, and we have also Spanish and German. I know we definitely have a German speaker on the call, so this is how it would look for you. You can see it changes everything here.
Awesome. All right. Well, we do have a few questions. So I'll go ahead and read these off, Patrick. You may have already covered this, but question from Andreas. It would be great to have a function where you can look at selected dates at the same time. Would allow you to see which date suits user needs rather than having to look at each date one at a time, which is very clunky. Is that possible?
Is the question that you would like to look at a specific, if you want to look at a specific space over multiple days at the same time, like a view like this, or in fact, are you just asking, you want to look at the list view and see all of the bookings that are coming up? Because this you can do, but if it's a specific space over multiple days, I just want to clarify that.
See
And we
if,
can return to that if Andreas replies later.
yeah, we can also set up a call
Yep.
to get that clarity on that. All right. Let me see. Did he chat? No, he didn't chat in. Okay. It'd be great to see the calendar and your teams at the same time. Is that possible?
Through Skedda, it's not. But if you've set up your meeting rooms to have a sync with Microsoft or Google, you're probably already historically using it. So if you need to use it specifically that way, you can continue to do it in Microsoft, and it's gonna update and sync directly with Skedda.
Awesome. Further to Andrea's question, when I, as an admin, need to reschedule a meeting, I often bump into there is already a meeting during that time. There should be a way to view that other booking without abandoning the booking change.
That's a fair comment. Yeah, I guess what you're saying is if you wanted to, let's say, move this booking, you're looking at the way I would go about this is if you want to move this from 9 to 11, I would actually just go through here first and just double check, just quickly scan what's coming up. You can also, when you click on any space, it will tell you all of the bookings for that day. So in this example, there isn't one, but if there was also a meeting from 1 until 3 p.m. today, I would know I couldn't move it to then. So that's the way I would go about it. Just simply clicking on the space first will give you all of the hours that's booked for that day, and then you can just slot the existing one into one of the free ones.
Thanks, Patrick. Is there a way to set the full day to 9 to 5, even if the space is open from 7 to 9?
There isn't if your hours of availability for that specific desk are for from 7 to 9. The default is going to be for whatever hours you set here. Um, However, depending on how you want to use it or how strict or lenient you want to be, you could use a condition to set it that between 9 and 5, it has to be an 8-hour booking. But then people could book either side of it as well. So that would be possible.
Excellent. How can you add pictures to staff's profiles?
To the staff profiles, that's done in your tenant. So in Microsoft or Google, we're just pulling the profile picture, like these excellent shiny ones we have here, of our staff from the Microsoft tenant. It isn't done directly in Skedda. Although that's a great question, that is something that we're thinking about for the future. But for right now, it's coming from your tenant.
Excellent. How do you add Skedda to Teams?
Yeah, great question. It's very straightforward. Actually, there's one thing you do in Skedda here where you'll come into your integrations and you'll enable it. And then in the Microsoft Teams Admin Center, you just need to enable Skedda. And for whoever asked this question, if they're thinking of doing it, here you want to just enable this. We can also send you the documentation as well, but it's done in the Microsoft Teams Admin Center. You go to the Skedda app and you add that, and then you have the option to decide if it should be pinned automatically on the left-hand side for users. So let me just pull up Teams. If it should appear automatically here, and also what group of users should be given access to it. So in the Teams Admin Center within the Skedda app that you create there, you can control all of those things.
Awesome. Can you set the language per user?
Yeah, so anyone who comes in can just come in and click on that. Let me pull up the other page. We'll have the option to click this here and change it as needed.
Oh, looks like Andreas did chime in, Patrick, to
Mhm.
clarify that first question. He
Okay.
said, so for example, a customer wanted to book a room for 18 to 19, and we want to look at a range of dates.
For that same specific space, I guess. Yes.
Yes.
The only way currently, let's just take like this 9 to 11 example, would be to either use this map view and then look, and I can see every day at that particular time it's in use, or you could use the day view, and you could do the same thing, and you could just move through the days like this. So, for example, if I wanted a free day 1 to 4 for the Dublin room, I could move across, and I can see here on Tuesday, it's not available. Wednesday, it is. Thursday, it isn't. So you can't see it in one quick screen, but I mean, with one click, you can easily see when it's available.
Awesome. While in a booking reservation, is it possible to show only rooms that are available?
Not currently, no. So you're saying if you looked here at Vancouver, you want to see only what's available at that time. No, it shows you all currently. It shows you all of the spaces.
Excellent. Is it necessary for a guest who wants to utilize Skedda to book for the first time to create an account?
Yes, they have to create an account. Yeah, every booking has to be tied to a user, so they would be prompted to put their email address in. If you in fact have your Skeda instance open on the internet, not locked down without like hidden, so that you need an invite. Even when they go to make a booking, they will be required, because otherwise you're not going to know who that booking's for. So it's something that we do require.
There's so many questions. This is amazing. All right, let's see. My sales team has an executive assistant who would like to be able to book spaces on behalf of her team members. This currently requires that I make her a booking admin, which gives her power over the entire organization. It would be nice to be able to specify who she can book on behalf of.
Yes, I will. We will give that as a big thumbs up and vote to our product team. It is something we hear. It is something that we're working on. Yes, basically, we'll feed that back for sure.
All right. Let's see. This looks like a view question. We would like to know in Microsoft Calendar, we can choose split view, compare, view only one room. Does Skeda have the same?
No, that's sort of similar to the question we got just previously. At the moment, no, you're just looking at, you're either looking at this view. What you could do is you could set up your day view here based on space tags. So you would tag specific spaces, and then you get views like this. So it would allow you to look. So if you've more than like 10 spaces with different combinations, by using the space tags, you actually can achieve that, because you'll see all of the spaces in one place, and you obviously see the entire day at one time. And then just with one easy click, I can move through the different days. So that's the way you can achieve that.
Awesome. Is there any way to create a Skeda account that can only be used to book spaces for that specific day? As in, if we put a tablet or screen somewhere in the office for people to book on that day.
Yes, yeah, you could achieve that. Yeah, so you would log into that particular tablet as that user you've created, and then using this rule here called a booking window, they can only, they can't book more than the current day essentially. So on any given day, they can book that day, but they would never be allowed to book the next day. So you would just then tag, so users with any of the tags, and just, I'm going to say ops, you would then just go in and tag that particular user with the ops tag, and the rule would apply to them. Now you would probably also might want to put a custom field or something in that people have to put their name, because all of those bookings are going to appear as the email you've created. You won't actually know who holds it. But if that's not a concern, that's fine. And that's how you achieve it.
All right, we have time for maybe a couple more. And Patrick, thank you so much. It's like rapid fire.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, how are you showing the areas and desk resources mapped out in colors?
So this is with our design team. So in this case, a customer would reach out and would indicate to us what they want done. If anybody has maps that they want, any resources, any colors, any departments put on, absolutely, that can be done. Just reach out. In fact, if you have a Skeda account, by going into your settings and coming into the floor plans, there's this area here, submit a map request, and then you can put what it is that you want done, and our design team receive that immediately, and we'll get to work on it.
Great. And I know we get this question. Is it possible to configure certain spaces so that bookings require approval from an administrator before being confirmed?
Yeah, it's good that we get this one, because
It is good. Yeah.
it's a, like, as long as I've been in the company, we've always kind of been asked this. We are actively building it, so it is coming. Definitely is coming. I just can't give any timeline, but yes, it's a popular one, and we will be bringing that out.
Yes, popular and complex, but
Yeah,
absolutely, Patrick, it is on the roadmap. Thank you for asking that so that we can take that back to product as well. All right, let's see. We got a minute here. Will you be able to book a space for multiple days in a row in the future? With syncing to Google Calendar, if someone in our organization books a space for 3 days straight with Google Calendar, Skeda declines the room.
Uh, I would like you to reach out to me with that one. That I haven't seen before. So that shouldn't happen as far as I'm aware. So Marina, if you or Michael, if you reach out, we can look into that for you.
Awesome. I believe it's Marina Michael. So.
Okay.
All right, last one. Can you pull up reports to see an individual's usage for a month?
Yes, you can. Now it depends how you want to go about that and how many people are in your organization. The first way I could do this is just go to the list view and set the dates that I want to look. So this would be, let's just say let me just put it for May. And then I would select a person, right? So I could search for Keenan here, for example. Now, if all you actually want to know is how many bookings, how many hours, you have it there. You could also export this to Excel and have it there, and you have all the raw data. It's also possible in the insights here, but you have to go about it a slightly different way. You could go and look at the user tags. And so you could select, I want to know, let's say it's someone in the finance team. You would go and select, I want to see all the bookings for people in the finance team. Not a popular team in this company, obviously. There's no bookings for them, but that's how you would do it. And then it would show you at the bottom all of the bookings associated with those users. So that's the way I would go about doing it for individual users.
All right. And Joseph, I see you. We will get back to you with answers to your questions, but I just want to give a big shout out to Patrick. Thank you so much. Amazing job showing off these tips and tricks for folks. If you would like a demo, there's the request a demo button. We also have tons of resources on the website. We have a Skedda Academy that you can find in the resources drop down as well with a lot of this information. We will send you the recording and we will get back to you if we did not answer your question. But thank you again, Patrick, and thank you everybody for joining us today.
Thanks so much.
Goodbye.